What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a long overdue versus episode on From Screen to Shelf. Gabe had me watch Sicario, so in turn, the movie actually kept changing. But recently, it was I just told him to spontaneously watch Martyrs because I figured he had seen it, so I'm super stoked to see how he felt. For anybody that doesn't know, Sicario is what was it, 2015, 16?
I think sooner than or earlier than that.
Was it? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's an old
maybe.
Denis How do you say his last name? Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve, I think is how you say it.
Villeneuve. There we are.
Yeah.
Villeneuve. It's a movie from before, like the Dune trilogy, or the not trilogy, the Dune movies and everything like that. So he wanted me to check that out. And Martyrs is a mid 2000s French shock exploitation movie that was extremely popular and is considered to be one of, if not the most disturbing movie of all time. So I said, say less. I will have Gabe watch it. And
Mm.
so here we are. And I know he's bursting to know how I feel on Sicario, so I guess I'll start that off, Gabe.
Yes, please, man. It
Um,
is 2015. You're right. So 2015 for
2015.
Sicario.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. Man, I watched this movie almost two months
Yeah,
ago,
you
so I'm
barely
trying to.
remember it now.
Yeah, I barely remember. I remember a lot of like the really good shots, like whenever they first raid that little house and they start finding like the stuff inside the walls and stuff like that. I thought that was really
Hmm.
really well done. I think Benicio del Toro's character is absolutely incredible in every way. It's Emily Blunt. Yeah, it says it right there.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt was really really great in this. Had a really good time. But there was something that just really got me going about the ending. I really think it was just a really good story about like betrayal and like mistrust between people in a time of dire need. So
Hmm.
whenever it comes to the ending in Benicio del Toro, I think it was absolutely brilliant. I think that was like honestly one of the best well done scenes whenever it comes to like a war esque movie for the ending that I've seen in a while. That was really, really, really well done. Um,
And you're
otherwise,
talking
I'm
about the scene with Emily
the
Blunt and Benicio del Toro, the one where Benicio del Toro just
in the family with the
goes
dinner table.
crazy. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Family in the
that
dinner
one.
table.
I think that
Yeah.
was well done. I think the one with Emily Blunt, it's just like her I need to give it another rewatch, but her like shift felt very very sudden and spontaneous at some points, like rather extreme.
Hmm.
And maybe I just missed like certain key dialogue that could have triggered those emotions out of her or her character. But I felt like it was a little bit extreme. But that was probably like my only like real nitpick because she goes from 0 to 100 real quick against Josh Brolin. So it's like it's a little bit different.
I don't know. I disagree. I feel like she's like
You feel it's pretty
it's.
natural.
I feel it's pretty natural just because like she's persistently dealt with like blows of just like the what she's doing in terms of the operation isn't what she thinks she's doing.
Yeah.
She keeps getting hit with like new information, or she's baffled with like what Josh Brolin's doing and what the CIA's doing, and it's just like this constant build until kind of the end where yeah, she goes nuclear on him pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really well done. And you said the sequel isn't worth watching, right? Because they're coming out with a third one.
So I don't want to say it's not where it's just it doesn't reach the caliber I think of the first one. I think the reason I love the first one so much is just because almost like No Country for Old Men. I think the first one's just there's that quote he says when they're at the dinner table where he forces her to sign this piece of paper.
Hmm.
Um, and he's he says like you need to just move to a small town. He's like this is a land of wolves now, and you can't you can't operate within this like realm of what we're doing here. Like and I think that just really goes to show like what governments are willing to do, what human beings are willing to do just to fight evil. It's like you're fighting evil with evil. um
Yeah.
and Emily Blunt's character just can't keep up with that. So I thought and I think that the dinner at the family dinner scene really kind of exemplifies that. So I feel like this movie had a lot like deep themes, and the second one just doesn't follow through with any of those. The second one is more standard, cut and dry kind of action movie with some cool sequences, but it doesn't reach the heights of the original.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'd give this one a strong 9 out of 10. I think it's really,
Oh,
really good. Yeah, I liked it a
cool.
lot. And it's definitely outside of my normal alley, but it's like beautifully shot, beautifully done,
Hmm.
well acted, really, really well done script. High recommendation for those out there. And
I think
then,
Roger Deakins was the cinematographer for that one.
oh, was he really?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe so.
fantastic
Let me
work
see.
as always by him.
Yeah,
He
he
kills
was.
it. He was.
Yep.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. So definitely check that out if you guys haven't seen. I know I was like that was a pretty popular movie when it came out. It wasn't like an indie hit or something. That was a pretty
It's
popular
gotten
movie
more
people talking about.
popular over time for sure. I think over
Yeah.
the years, yeah, because I didn't see it theatrically. I saw it like 3 years later when my buddy told me to watch it.
Oh, really?
And I was like, man, I should have just seen this in theaters. I just like, if this ever
The
comes out
sound.
on a like Fathom event, I'm totally gonna go see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
I bet the
soundtrack
sound's
is amazing
insane.
too. The
Yeah.
little the music, like when they're at the freaking desert border crossing, like it's like this weird music that plays, and I just fucking love it. The tension it brings, man.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Great
scores are
movie.
excellently done. Now, for this next one, now that we know about Sicario, we're going to go into full spoiler territory because you can't talk about this movie at all or really digest it without really talking about a lot of the, like I said, it's a shock flick, right?
Hmm.
I personally think that it's really well written and really well done for what it does try to give you. It's not like Siberian film where it's just shock to be shock,
Hmm.
or Human Centipede. It has a purpose and a story to tell with it. So I do just want to preface to people that once we do talk about this, there will be spoilers because I don't feel like you can really like rate, review, or even discuss this movie without talking about some of the more sensitive parts. So, Gabe, Martyrs, 2008, the original in French version.
Yeah, I mean, so like let me say, I'm gonna preface this. The first third of the movie, I was really just literally thinking the whole time that I hate you for giving me this movie. Like I'm
It's
like,
pretty boring,
why?
very generic
No,
slashery.
like the first 5 minutes, it's just like I kind of I felt like I knew what this movie was gonna be, and I was just kind of cursing you for it. I'm like, why am I watching this? But I actually really liked the first third of this movie. Like the first
Yeah.
third of this movie up to I would say where she slashes her throat. So like the girl
Oh,
runs
from like the
outside.
hallucination.
Yeah, from the hallucination. As soon as she slashes her throat, it just went all downhill for me from there. And I
Really?
don't care. And maybe this is something we can debate, dude. And I was reading on online forums about it and people's interpretations of it. I don't. The themes that I understand what the themes this movie is trying to kind of convey, but I just
Mm-hmm.
don't understand the point of the extreme like nature it needs to go to. And the extreme nature, mind you, it didn't even disturb me really because I mean I think if you've seen
Yeah, I was
enough
the same way.
horror
Yeah,
movies like and
it's
like
not that shocking.
yeah, if you've seen like the Saw movies and shit like that, it's really I mean I guess it makes it a little bit more shocking because it's a little bit grittier and more down to earth, you know what I mean? It's not as
In the reasoning.
yeah,
Yeah,
that part makes it a little bit more disturbing, but it's not. I wasn't like, oh my god, I can't watch this.
yeah,
The whole time I was just kind of thinking, I'm like, all right, man, she's getting punched, she's getting tortured. I'm like, let's what's the point of this? And then you have that
yeah,
conversation with I think she just goes by Mademoiselle. Is
yeah,
the name that she goes by. So it was it was an interesting conversation, but I just like so I just don't get the point. I really just don't get the point of this movie. It's like so
yeah,
I know there's a lot of almost Catholic themes in this movie in
yeah,
terms of like where pain and where pain can take the human mind and you know sacrifice and all that stuff. But it's like I feel there are so many other movies that could maybe convey that a lot better
fair
than this
enough.
one did. Like I just didn't by the end of it, I just didn't care. I really didn't care about what this movie was trying to say. I didn't care when Mademoiselle shot herself. And
Mm,
like I
no
think she
shock for
says
you.
I just didn't care.
Just
I didn't care about
no
these
investment.
people. I didn't care
Yeah,
about I think for the reason the first third of it works so well
mm,
is because you get a sense of like what you think this movie's going to be. So I'm like, okay, this girl was, obviously traumatized and we're going to see her as an adult and she's probably going to cope with this shit. And like the whole movie's going to be like her trying to get back at these people. And then I'm like, oh shit, like the first scene, she's just busting through the door with a shotgun and she shoots them.
yeah,
And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, so this is like really engaging. This is not what I thought it was going to be. And I
yeah,
was hooked. I'm like, this is super intriguing.
yeah.
And then, yeah, as soon as she died, dude, I was just like, it's just,
So you didn't
it
care
turns
for
to a
her
different
friend.
movie.
You didn't care for her friend. You were more invested in the psychology of the girl that gets introduced with the shotgun, the main character
I
initially for
was
the
definitely
first third.
intrigued by her. I mean, the
Yeah.
friend, if you think about it, I mean, what purpose does she serve?
So
Outside
I
of just
saw
being
her.
the fucking,
Yeah,
the
the
victim
tag along.
of
That's how I took it, like
yeah.
because of how when she's moving, like when I believe it was the mom wasn't like fully dead, so she's trying to like get her out and stuff, and she keeps having like these back and forth thoughts because
Hmm.
she doesn't believe her friend really has,
Yeah,
or
the
her. I believe they're
hallucination.
partners. I believe they're partners. I think it alludes to that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're
So
romantically
yeah,
involved.
yeah, so like her partner, she starts to not believe about the hallucinations. Like she wants to trust her, but then
Hmm.
she just feels like there's a line, especially because there were kids involved this time and stuff,
Yeah.
teenagers and So like I liked her because she just served like the polar opposite. Like you could tell like she was like the anchor to this person's insanity. You know, like this was the like that girl was the only thing keeping. I don't know why I can't remember their names. The one who initially went through all the torture as a
Mhm.
child. Her partner keeps her anchored while she's always hallucinating, trying to escape this, trying to escape the trauma and
I agree
everything
with
like
you,
that.
but then it's like,
So
what about after
yeah,
that? That when she dies, like, what purpose does she serve?
she's just a casualty is how I took it, you know, because of association. You know what I mean? So I mean, she got captured because of that and then thrown in the dungeon. Like I would say the parts of this movie that actually were well done is the parts that made me uncomfortable were like with the main lady from the beginning when it's showing like a lot of her childhood. I think that's
Mhm,
very intense and very graphic to show in a movie because
mhm,
not a lot of movies go to that angle. So
mhm,
those points actually interested me more
mhm,
with this movie than what we ended up getting. I think it would have been better had we seen just like you said, like the way that she tries to cope with this, but you get a lot more of those flashbacks. I think it
mhm.
would have been a better movie versus just like, okay, snatch her and now make her go through the whole process, you know? Because it
Yeah,
spends the first third getting you to care about the main person, you know?
mhm, and
Yeah.
it's almost I think we were talking about Smile during the last episode, and I thought, that movie, it got a mixed response, but I think it looking back at it, it dealt with the issue of trauma in an interesting way, and I thought
Yeah.
this movie was kinda doing the same thing where it's like, she's seeing this hallucination, and obviously
Yeah.
she's gone through intense trauma, and I thought this movie was trying to kinda convey some of that, but you lose it for this theme of kind of pain, suffering, and, where the mind goes, spiritual transcendence, so to speak, and uh, I guess I just kept asking myself, I'm like, "What's the point?" Like, I
Yeah.
mean,
Like, what's the point
we
of
we
showing
as human
extremism?
beings have been, fucking talking about and debating philosophy and spiritualism and, extreme realm of where the mind can go. I'm like, "So
Mhm.
why do you need to convey these themes with such extreme kind of imagery?" I just I didn't see the point in it.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, maybe this movie got a little overhyped. Like, I was just very curious because when I was told that this was like a super one of the most shocking movies that people had seen, I don't really think outside of the violence towards women that it depicts in this movie that it really did anything different than even say Hellraiser gave me seeing somebody
Yeah.
skinned. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it wasn't like holy shit they did that to her. I was thinking something bigger. I'm actually in the same boat with you and I pretty much agree with you. I think
Mhm.
parts towards the ending like anytime you can make me feel uncomfortable I do feel like it's cheap violence on women. That's gonna make any normal person uncomfortable. I at
Mhm.
least hope it makes you uncomfortable because
Yeah.
you should never, validate those types of actions. But I'll give it props. But it's like David Cronenberg said something like there's a great way of projecting and getting an audience to feel something. There's the cheap way, like jump
Mhm.
scares, and then there's the genuine way through like emotion, score, build up, everything like that. And I felt like it had a lot of those cheap ways of getting you to go like, oh damn."
Yeah,
You
it's
know what I mean?
disturbing. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's
Yeah.
it's violence against women, and I mean, and obviously there's themes of like depravity of just human nature, right? But I feel like I just said with Sicario, I feel like that
Yeah.
you can convey that. I mean, the and spoilers for Sicario, when he shoots down the entire family,
Yeah,
that's
it's crazy.
atrocious. It's you
Yeah.
didn't think that was gonna happen. It's not there for a shock factor to make you go like, wow. It's just
It's
like
part of the
that's
story.
that's
Yeah.
how, his animosity just turned into that, you know what I mean? Where he's like,
Yeah.
"Fuck it, I'm gonna kill the kids too." And it but
Yeah.
it I feel like that movie executed it better, or like, Schindler's List, I feel like is a good example of just, like, where you can convey human depravity,
Yeah.
and it's graphic, it's difficult to see, but it's not like cheap,
Just there. Yeah.
torture. Yeah, it's just I just didn't get anything with the second and third act with this movie and the ultimate
Yeah.
themes it was trying to convey. So it just kind of it sucks because the first third is really brilliant. I think
Yeah.
it's like honestly, if they had kept up with that character, I could see where this is probably maybe one of the best horror films like of that
You
decade.
liked it
But
that
it's like,
much? Yeah.
dude, I love the first third of it. I
Yeah.
loved the first third of it because like when she was going through with the shotgun, I
Yeah, that
was
was
just like,
crazy.
"Okay, yeah." I'm like, I don't know where this movie's going, and I love that. It's, like, so
Yeah.
different. and I really felt for her character. But then, she's gone, and all of that to explore the themes of human pain and spiritual transcendence that no one gives a shit about. I don't know. I just don't give a shit about it.
Yeah.
It's like people have
Yeah,
been
yeah,
debating
yeah.
this stuff forever. It's like, so what
Yeah.
is an hour and a half horror movie gonna do for me? That's gonna,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? So that's how I
Yeah.
felt about it, dude. I was kind of frustrated with it. I feel like I wish someone would just take the first third of this movie and make it into the movie. It
And
was
flesh it out.
yes,
Yeah.
man, 100%.
Yeah. So
But
what would
yeah,
you give it?
I
Like a
mean,
3?
yeah, I'd give it like a
Since
three
you
and a
like the
half.
first 3?
Yeah, that I
Yeah.
was just
Oh,
trying to
3.5 out of
separate into
5
thirds,
or
so
10? Yeah.
I'll give it 3.5.
Out of 10. That's it
Yeah,
makes sense because you
because
like the first
I
3.
got nothing out of it after the first third. Like literally
Yeah.
after the first third, I was just like, this is kind of we're just getting. I felt almost like Hostel again. Like, and Hostel was a lot
Interesting.
more, obviously, like, not comical, but it's like Saw, you know what I mean? Where it's just like more
Yeah.
fantasy-ish kind of like horror, generic horror.
Yeah.
I felt like it was just Hostile slash I'm trying to explore deep themes of stuff, and it's supposed to mean something, and it really doesn't, at least to me. So three and a
Very
half out
fair.
of 10 for Martyrs. I'm never gonna watch it again. I don't want anything to do with this movie again.
Yeah.
Please give me a good movie, Chase. Come on, dude. I feel
Man, I
like it's
tried
been a
giving you
minute
5
since.
days. Yeah. You didn't like The Brood. I thought you would genuinely like that because that's one of his highest rated movies, man. So it was surprising you
Yeah,
didn't
the
like The
Brood
Brood.
was I just yeah, man, it's just kinda
At
it's
least you
just
like A
gonna win
Dangerous Method.
directions. Oh, dude, I love A Dangerous Method. See, that one we
Yeah.
can talk about.
Yeah.
But
That'll
yeah.
make a good episode. But yeah, guys, stay tuned for more versus episodes of me and Gabe duking it out with 2 movies that have absolutely nothing to do
Nothing to
with
do
each
with they're
other.
so different. Yeah.
They're so different. Stay tuned for more. Thank you. Comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.
See you guys.